Hello everyone, welcome back to Ranked Racing in RaceRoom, and today we're returning to the GT3 class. We're at one of my favourite circuits, Watkins Glen, for a race which is sure to be fast and frantic. Not a big entry list for this one, sadly. Only 14 drivers taking to the grid. We're going to start from the third row. We've qualified 6th with a time of 1:46.3. Now, I've chosen the trusty BMW M6 for this one, but it's good to see 3 Ferraris lining up ahead of me. Ferrari new to RaceRoom as part of the DTM 21 pack. And to make the race even more enjoyable, we're joined on the grid by several of our good friends from the SCB community. Wushel Van Veepland and Scott Warner qualifying 2nd and 4th respectively. They'll be both pushing for podiums. And then just behind us, Paul Martin in 9th, Julian Garcia in 11th. The lights are going green and we're underway here at Watkins Glen. This M6 is an absolute nightmare to get off the line. Thankfully, Jim Best lining up alongside me is in an identical car, so we were both equally sluggish there, and we're actually joined by Matt Robinson as we go 3 wide through T1. There was a little bit of contact there as Robinson cleverly squeezed through the middle of us, so a dynamite start from Robinson in the Bentley. He was way back on row 5. So 10th to 5th in 2 corners, a fantastic start for Robinson. And speaking of fantastic starts, Wushel Van Veepland leading the race, Scott Warner in 3rd. So SCB occupying 2 of the 3 podium positions as we go through the inner loop for the first time. Oh, and it looks like Wushel has lost the lead to Zebdir too, and there's a little bit of a gap opened up to the leader, so maybe a mistake was made in the inner loop. Meanwhile, we're alongside Robinson, but we're on the outside. I don't think we're going to get around, but we certainly had better pace than the Bentley exiting that outer loop. And our wider line did invite Jim Best to have a sniff up the inside as well, but we're going to have the inside line for this hairpin, and in front, Dennis Erdbeck's lost the rear. That Ferrari slides nose first into the barrier. That's promoting Matt Robinson up to 4th. I'm up to 5th. Jim Best had to take avoided action behind, so that's cost him a valuable few tenths. He's 0.7 of a second behind now in 6th. But yeah, we got a little bit lucky there. The airbag slid into the barrier on the inside. It gave us just enough room to get by. I mean, our hands were tied. We couldn't swerve to the outside to make sure we got around him safely because Robinson was there, so we were committed to the inside line. Thankfully, there was just enough room for us to squeeze through. 1 without contacting Erdbeck and 2 without contacting Robinson on the outside. So we're getting to the end of the first lap here. Zebdir leading, Van Veepland 2nd, Warner 3rd, Robinson 4th, me in 5th. Here's a replay of the start. Now cast your eye towards the back of the grid and look for a Bentley on a mission. That's Robinson moving to the middle of the circuit early, and he's already spotted that gap in between the 2 yellow and black M6s of me and Best, and he threads his way through precisely 10th to 5th in 1 corner for Robinson. Fantastic stuff. Halfway through the lap though, we got 1 position back when Dennis Erdbeck lost control of his Ferrari in the toe hairpin. We saw from the replay there how close we were to hitting him, and this is the onboard. That's how close we came to getting collected. Into the inner loop for the 2nd time, and there's still no breathing room. We're only 0.4 of a second behind Matt Robinson in 4th, but it's an identical gap back to Best in 6th, so there's less than a second separating the 3 of us here. And the BMW does seem to be a bit quicker than the Bentley through the outer loop and into the chute. Once again we go to the outside, and once again we've allowed Jim Best to sniff up the inside. We managed to hold him off last time around, but I don't think we're going to this time. Even if we do have the inside line, Best has got himself ahead. He's managed to take the inside line in front of us, and now he's going to get a good run out of the toe. And he might even have the pace to pull alongside the Bentley of Robinson here. He's going to have a look, but he's going to think better of it. Yeah, this has the potential to be an excellent battle for 4th place here. We all seem to be fairly well matched on pace, but that Bentley is so difficult to overtake. Best is looking like he wants to have a go though. He is right on Robinson's tail, just 0.2 of a second separating them, but we're well in contention behind. Still, the 3 of us separated by less than a second. And I wondered if we could just get our X out of the final turn right, we might be able to get a run on these guys, but it hasn't happened. They were really rapid through there, and we're doing our best just to stick with them at the moment. Into T1 to start lap 3. And Best is all over Robinson, but we've got a much better run out of T1. We're going to have the grunt to get alongside that BMW of Best. There's a little bit of contact with side by side. I'm going to have to give Best some space. The last thing we want to do is squeeze him out onto the grass, so we gave him as much room as he needed on the left-hand side through those S's, but we managed to keep the throttle down, and we've got that 5th position into the inner loop, and the last thing we want to do is throw it away here, so we've got to get through this section safely and now begin to close in on that Bentley. But before we see if we can challenge Robinson, let's go back a lap and see Best's pass on us. It was a clever move, this one. Once again, we left the door open on the inside through the chute. But at this point, I thought I was okay. I thought it was going to be similar to that one. I'd get the inside line. We wouldn't have any spinning Ferraris to worry about, but it wasn't to be. Best had the pace to sweep around the outside, take that 5th position, and start challenging Robinson. However, as we started lap 3, we got an excellent line through turn 1. Look at the extra speed we carried through there. We're immediately able to get alongside Best. We're side by side. There's a little bit of contact. So at this point, I want to stay as far over to the right as possible. I don't want to squeeze Best out. I want to give him room. But luckily, we were able to keep the throttle down, maintain our speed and momentum, and hold that position. Well, I'm struggling to find a way to get around this Bentley at the moment. I feel like we've got a little bit of extra pace, but I don't know if it's enough to actually get our BMW alongside and in a strong enough position to be able to make a pass. Let's just stick as close as possible to his rear spoiler at the moment. Hopefully we can put him under a little bit of pressure. He does go in a little bit deep into that corner, so maybe we can square this final turn off a little bit quicker, get on the gas earlier and pull alongside into T1. Again, we had a little bit more speed, but nowhere near enough to get alongside. So now perhaps we can try the same move as we pulled on Best a lap ago, if we can get our line right through T1, and again we have. But has the BMW got the cojones to get alongside the Bentley through the S's? It doesn't look like we have. Robinson still holding position, and there's nothing we can do about it at this point. We're going to have to stay in his draft. Oh, this is really close racing with Robinson, but the last thing we want to do is make contact, because if we do, look in the rearview mirror, Jim Best is behind and ready to pounce. Oh, we do get a little bit too close for comfort to Robinson there. We didn't make any contact, but we had to lift off the throttle, and that has invited Best to close right in. We are in the middle of a proper battle for 4th position now. But certainly not going to leave any doors open through the chute this time. We're taking a tight line into there to stop Best from considering a pass, and we're now right on Robinson's tail again. Have we got room to make a move up the inside? There is a gap. We're holding a tight line. Can we get on the gas early enough? We're almost alongside, but again, the BMW just hasn't got the power to pull alongside. Oh, this is really hard work. We're just going to have to keep plugging away, although lines like that aren't going to help us. We got it all wrong going through that right-hander. And now we're going to have to defend again from Best. We're going to have to take a tighter line, but it might work in our favour because Robinson's ran that Bentley wide. And that was the opportunity we needed to take 4th position. Well, we knew from our pass on Jim Best a lap earlier that we had a good line through T1 and were able to carry more speed on exit. Again, we tried it with the Bentley of Robinson, but it wasn't to be. That Bentley just had the power to climb up the hill through the S's and stay in front. And at this point, I was beginning to think I might have exhausted all my options for potential passes, particularly here when we got our line so badly wrong going through there. I had to defend against Best from behind, but watch the Bentley. He just runs in way too wide, completely misses the apex, out on the grass as well. That allows us to sneak by and take 4th position. Yeah, it turned out that Robinson's mistake there was the lucky break that we needed, because once we got ahead and into 4th position, we were able to start opening up a little bit of a gap. We were helped in no small part by the fact that Robinson and Best were battling each other hard for that 5th position. That allowed us to get some clear track and make a break for it. There's already a gap of 1.5 seconds back to Robinson in 5th, but further down the track you can just see it there. Scott Warner in 3rd is 5 seconds ahead. And having raced with Scott numerous times in SCV races, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to catch him. We did manage to trim about 1.3 seconds out of that gap over the final 5 minutes of the race, but we've jumped forward to the very last lap. We're just about to hit the final turn and bring it home for a very satisfying 4th position. I'm happy with that result. We didn't quite have the pace to match Scott Warner or Wushel van Veetland in 2nd and 3rd place, so 4th was probably the best we could have expected, and actually we beat a few drivers with very high ratings. So yeah, good result all round. Let's check out the classified results. And yeah, it looks like the race winner, Zebdi, was in a class of his own, the only driver on the grid to lap in the 144s. I'm happy with my fastest lap time of 1:45.8. That's more than half a second quicker than my qualifying time. So we did improve as that race went on, even if we weren't quite quick enough to match Warner and Van Veetland. But a good race this one, I really enjoyed it, and if you've enjoyed watching it, please do remember to leave a like, and you can also check out some of my other RaceRoom videos. There are tons of ranked races on the channel that you can go back and watch, and if you don't want to miss any of the upcoming races, please do hit that subscribe button. Thanks ever so much for watching, cheers!